Today, we're going to go through 8 lessons from 8-figure entrepreneurs. If you are a 7-figure entrepreneur and are ultimately looking to become an 8-figure entrepreneur, either by wealth or through your business itself, we're going to go through the exact things that I've learned from talking to hundreds of different 8-figure entrepreneurs. Now, some of these are going to surprise you. Some of these are going to be very straightforward. But the biggest thing to recognize is ultimately it is that the fact that they have done it. And if for you on the path, you need to be aware of it and then implement it. There's really not a secret formula here. It's really just all about implementation. There's also the idea of extreme action, which we'll also talk about too. Now, if you're a 7-figure business owner and you are looking to become an 8-figure earner, I have a private wealth secrets community that ultimately is going to help you achieve that through both your business and your personal wealth. So click the link below to apply and learn more. Without further ado, let's get into these 8 different lessons. First, it's going to be knowing. So they know themselves. They know if they're an integrator or if they are a visionary. They're going to maybe know things about their disc profile or their Enneagram, things like this to really understand what they are best at and what they should delegate as well as elevate. Strengths Finder 2.0 was absolutely transformative for me simply because I learned I was analytical, I was collaborative, I like to ultimately work with people, and ultimately I love to educate. Part of the reason why I started doing YouTube videos and podcasts because it has the opportunity for me to educate. I really enjoy it. I get good feedback from people. So continue to give me feedback, please. Really love the conversation around just growing businesses and growing our wealth, preserving it, as well as stewarding it too. Now, in terms of knowing yourself, like I mentioned, there's a bunch of different kind of tests or things that you would take, whether it be the book Traction, Strengths Finder, Myers-Briggs, etc. Knowing that is going to be helpful. The other thing would be knowing your attachment style, whether you're anxious, avoidant, or anxious avoidant. And that is going to give you the opportunity to grow personally as well as then grow within your business. If you're naturally anxious, what I've typically find is that people are constantly setting up meetings, constantly looking to talk to people who have already done it, and ultimately are doing less implementation. If you're avoidant, ultimately you want to be more aware on how you're interacting with others, how they're perceiving you, but are typically get shit done type of people, which is again a beneficial thing, but recognizing what kind of comes at that cost. So recognizing your boundaries, your strengths, and ultimately how you work best can then allow you to become the best you and ultimately build the best business. Now, last thing I'll say on this is ultimately that you do not want to only do the things that are the strengths. You need to recognize, at least as an entrepreneur, depending on what size of business you have, you ultimately are going to need to do things that you may not want to do. Tough luck. And that's also part of a number of things we'll go through. Second thing is going to be playing in the unknown. Love it, right? It's the idea that hard work doesn't equal success, but they have the tenacity to do it. The third one is relentlessness. They're consistent. They show up, they do. They build that brick wall, brick by brick, right? And so ultimately, by playing in the unknown and being consistent, point 2 and 3 are going to give you the opportunity to therefore become a 8-figure entrepreneur, because with enough consistency, you will then become something beyond what you initially anticipated, right? The difference between having a plan and being present in the moment and in the experience. The plans don't always go to how you thought they were. Allowing the unknown to come to be creates magical, wonderful, incredible things that could happen. You could potentially meet someone on an airplane who gives you more business than you would if you called 1,000 people, right? That sort of mindset and that perception ultimately is going to give you into what you become. And so what you're going to become is someone who is very collaborative. So point number 4, if you're collaborative, you are then the idea of being kind. You are aware. You look for win-wins. You look for these types of things, and you're the type of person who recognizes that and recognizes the human aspect beyond the deal and transaction. The big thing sometimes we see from 7 to 8-figure, but especially from 6 to 7. 6 tends to be grappling as I want this now. 7 tends to let it go, and 8 figures tend to be completely surrendering, willing to, again, be in the unknown. Is someone who is very collaborative. So point number 4, if you're collaborative, you are then the idea of being kind. You are aware. Now, next thing entrepreneurs are ultimately going to do, they're going to know their product. They're going to know their industry. They're going to know who they serve, who they do not serve, what it is, the benefits, the risks, the associated context around it, and they run their own race. They are aiming essentially for the idea of one of one. Now, this transcends as you go into a 9-figure entrepreneur, but it's really important as you start out to become that sort of piece. Are you a copywriter? Or do you ultimately transform people's voices into books, right? Similar type thing, exact same sort of execution, but it's a different type of piece. I don't copyright. I'm not a copywriter. If you want a copywriter, go talk to a copywriter. I ultimately have this specific unique outcome that you are looking for as a customer, which then means you're more of a one-on-one. You're doing branding and marketing around that, which is a underlying thing of the lessons from 8-figure entrepreneurs is there is a brand, and it's something that is tangential through all these things. So just keep in mind, brand is a big thing, but you ultimately want to build a company, not just build a bunch of content around yourself. You want them both to be intertwined. And so that product is also to say that's a little bit of yourself and building that brand as it relates to beyond you just in the office. Is someone who is very collaborative. So point number 4, if you're collaborative, you are then the idea of being kind. You are aware. So for example, right now I'm doing 100 push-ups a day for 100 days with an 8-figure entrepreneur. I'm also using an app that allows me to track how many push-ups I'm doing so I can unlock things like Instagram for 30 minutes a day. That app, if you're curious, is called Step Block. Now I'll put a link to Step Block below so you can try it out yourself to ultimately reduce your distractions to then increase your executions. It's another big thing that I found in terms of gamifying is eliminating as well as adding things that benefit the individual as well as the company itself. Is someone who is very collaborative. So point number 4, if you're collaborative, you are then the idea of being kind. You are aware. A huge thing between 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs is finances. So they have bookkeeping, they have quarterly meetings, they have potentially a interim CFO or something similar, simply because they want to track their finances so that they understand where they're at and also like where they're going. If they don't know that, then they can't become an 8-figure entrepreneur because they don't know what they're currently at and really where they're going and how they're doing. They can't pivot and understand what that is someone who is very collaborative. So point number 4, if you're collaborative, you are then the idea of being kind. You are aware. And that's ultimately the last piece is that they play and they don't force. So again, it's this idea of it's a game, it's fun, open hands, surrender to the process, becoming a better version of yourself, allowing things to happen, being curious, supporting people, being collaborative, being relentless on their execution, and then also open with how that comes to be. Now, these are, again, lessons that I've learned from talking to 8-figure entrepreneurs. And the biggest takeaway between 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs are the decisions they make, the rate of which they make those decisions, and the rate of which they make those consistent decisions over time. So if you're an aspiring 8-figure entrepreneur, I cordially invite you to join our private wealth secrets community. And if you are an 8-figure entrepreneur and you're looking to grow into IPO, also reach out and connect with us as we help companies beyond the 8-figure level get more funding and even go IPO as well.